Genuinely believe that Modi's India is different from its predecessors. It is different in its outlook. In many ways, you can see if you look today at the politics of India, at the representation of India, at the thinking, the parlance, the metaphors, the policies. It is in many ways the result of really 75 years of a very deep democracy, whose inclusiveness has really brought forth a leadership and a thought process that is really authentically Indian. The second is that Modi's India is actually a return to a political dispensation that has a majority in parliament. And I cannot overstress to you the importance of that, because some of us are perhaps, I'd say, experienced enough to remember a time when this was a given. And then we actually, after 1989, from 1989 till 2014, we went through a period really where the idea of a majority rule was not there, and it had enormous consequences on governance, on policy. So this, I say, as a, in a sense, as a non-partisan political science part, that a country like India, if it is to progress, if there have to be the right policies, the vision, the confidence to do all that, it is very important that the government is formed with a decisive mandate from the people. And that is one of the characteristics of Modi's India. And the third, of course, is the leadership, the vision. I think I'm in a university which saw early expressions of that vision. And the ambition. The ambition of making something very much more out of India than we had in the past. In a sense, to realize a potential that at times we ourselves perhaps did not fully understand and appreciate. So when Modi's India becomes a rising power, what does it do? I mean, you would say, okay, we are today the most populous country, we are the 5th largest economy, we are growing, maybe in a few years we'll become the 3rd largest economy. But is that all? I mean, is it automatic? I would suggest to you that that isn't the case. That the process of rising of any country, of any society, of any people actually involves expressions of talent, of technology, of articulation, of influencing, of having a voice, of having a spread, that the capabilities, and most of all, of having a personality, which means having a culture and values and civilizations that underpin. So that to me today is actually the landscape that I see as foreign ministry. I see a country today with a vision of where it is going, with an ambition for where it is going. Building up capabilities, because without those capabilities, I will come to it later, you know, the process of rising cannot only be by diplomacy. In fact, I am the last block on that chain, that so many other things have to happen if diplomacy is really to deliver, and at the end of the day, a diplomacy of any country is as good as the capabilities of that country. Under Prime Minister Modi, we are not thinking just of tomorrow. We are not even thinking of the next term. We are thinking really beyond. And in many ways, without exaggeration, we are today laying the foundation of what is a global footprint. A global footprint where an Indian presence, you can go to the farthest corner, to Caribbean, to South America, or you can go, by the way, where I just went with the Prime Minister, the Pacific Islands. Places where sometimes no Indian Prime Minister has gone, sometimes no Indian Foreign Minister has gone. But today, these are places where we have engagements, we have a presence, we see business, we sometimes see education. So we see Indian services out there. We marked 75 years of our independence. But what the Prime Minister did was, this time around, he asked us to think a little bit differently. He didn't ask us to think the next year or the next decade or the next term. He asked us to think the next 25 years. And I say this because that 25 years is going to be determined by all of you. We are actually today thinking of an era, of a generation or more. The responsibility of people like us today is really to lay the foundation, to prepare the groundwork. That is really the best thing that we can bequeath to all of you.